Okay, so actually today I'm here to talk about my project named Nurturing Students to Develop Chinese Word Recognition Tools, Master Classes, Mentorship, Validation, Optimization, Exhibition. And thank you for Emily's introduction. And actually this project is funded by our university. By the source of quality enhancements measures scheme. And I'm the project proposer, but there are other 3 team members. So like Emily mentioned just now, I'm the program leader of the early childhood education. It's a bachelor's degree. And then there are other colleagues from the Chinese language teaching, Dr. Ivan Sin, Dr. Apple Wong, and also another of my early child education colleague, Mr. Keith Ho. So together, we come up with this project aiming to help ECE students and Chinese language teaching students come together to work on developing some tools to help young children learn Chinese characters. Okay, and the project is actually an ongoing one. The start date was in June, and it will go until the next August, which is it should end before the summer holiday, and the duration is 15 months. So actually, we are now in the middle of the project, approximately in stage 3. So what I'm sharing are some interim results or products. Okay. And to share with you some of our project objectives, we hoped to allow our students from the School of Education Languages to come together. And through this project, we want them to learn more about Chinese, the root of Chinese characters, to enhance our students' Chinese literacy skills by through developing a better understanding of the Chinese literacy development in young children. And when they learn about the Chinese writing system, the origin of the Chinese characters, we hope that we can strengthen the students' cultural relevance about our Chinese culture, learn more about it. And later, I will share about the design of these word recognition tools. And actually, throughout the process, the students are trying to use some AI image generators to design the pictures for the word recognition tools. So we hope that through this project, our students can learn about different AI image generators out there and how to use them, how to give prompts to these AI tools. Okay, and then we separate the students into groups, and we put early child education ECU students and Chinese students together in a group. Hopefully, there can be more collaboration between students in these different programs, and they can learn from each other, like learn about early childhood education concepts from the ECU students, and then the ECU students can learn more about the Chinese language from the Chinese students. And finally, we would like our students to be able to publish Chinese word recognition tools for the local kindergartens in Hong Kong. So we hope that in the final stage, we will produce the sets of the word recognition tools and send it to the kindergartens in Hong Kong. And in this way, we can enhance the industry partnerships and promote our university, HKMU. And of course, the 3 programs involved. So later, I will talk more about the different programs and also about our students. So the public can know more about HKMU, know that we have this ECE program, the Chinese language education program, and so that our students can have better prospect. Okay, so first let me talk a bit about, I know many of you should have much knowledge in the Chinese writing system, but I still want to go through briefly about this. So Chinese characters are actually a logographic writing system. And the basic units are characters. So when compared to the English writing system, which is alphabetic, 26 letters, everyone knows that, Chinese learning is a bit difficult because the system size is quite large. So there are over 1,000 of symbols involved. So, and also the complexity when you look at all these symbols it can be very complex when compared to the linear letters, the alphabetical system. So children may face difficulty in learning Chinese, and in Hong Kong we have non-Chinese speaking students, and it's extra difficult for these students. So how do students recognize Chinese characters? So we have the integrated framework of form, sound, and meaning. So in the right side, you can see the diagram of a cat. So I'm sorry that maybe some of you cannot understand Cantonese, but because this project is focused on Cantonese learning, so some of the materials are in Chinese and pronounced in Cantonese. So I'll try to explain it in English. Okay, so for the Chinese character cat, Mao, children, to recognize this character, they need to have an integrated understanding of the form, this different radicals, 补音 of the character Mao. And then they should also recognize the pronunciation, the sound. This is the Cantonese pronunciation of Mao. And then also the semantics, the meaning of this word, which refers to this animal in the picture, the cat. Okay, so it's not an easy job. Yes, and this reflects the unique nature of the script, the Chinese writing, which is a meaning-based writing system. And when we look at the education policy papers in Hong Kong, we looked at both the kindergarten education curriculum guide on the left, and in the guide, when the Education Bureau talked about language learning for young children, they specified that teachers should develop interest in language learning. Probably a good way is through storytelling and also theme-based teaching, which is greatly adopted by kindergartens in Hong Kong. And then we also try to look at the curriculum guide for primary Chinese learning. And it's written that the primary teachers should understand Chinese language learning in the stage of early childhood education. Because now we are trying to pay more attention to the transition between kindergarten education and primary education. So this is added to the curriculum guide, newly added, recently added, okay? And then it also mentioned about that the teachers are recommended to make use of interesting and effective strategies to allow students to understand and learn the forms, the orthographic forms of Chinese characters. So what exactly happened nowadays in most kindergartens are that many kindergartens use 几卡. It can be translated, and in English, research is usually referred to flashcards. And then in the education documents, it's called picture cards. But I think in the field, in the ECE field, we better refer it as word cards. Because actually the teachers are more focused on the words than the pictures, actually. Yes, so they use this kind of word cards to help children learn the Chinese characters by repeating the words, repeatedly reading the characters. and so that the children can memorize these Chinese characters by rote memories. So to reproduce the pronunciation from memory. So they look at the words and then they can pronounce the characters. And then through repetition, the children can directly establish the relationship between the form of the characters and the sound and also the meaning. But in this way, many children may find it boring to learn Chinese characters, which is not good because just now, as reflected in the Education Bureau documents, it said that we should help children learn language in an interesting way to develop interest. So I think maybe this is why it's deliberately written in those documents that we should promote the children's interest in learning language, in learning Chinese characters, because nowadays we are using this kind of boring ways to help children acquire the Chinese characters. So we try to collect evidence to support this claim. We sent out questionnaire, a survey to around roughly 80 early childhood practitioners and asked them whether they have used word cards in teaching Chinese characters in the kindergarten. And 90% of them said so. So on the left is a sample of the word card, which is commonly used in kindergarten. So a picture on top, and then the big Chinese character in the bottom half of the word card. So this is a very common presentation. Actually, many of my students, when they go for teaching practicum, when they need to design teaching aids to be used in their teaching practice, they also use this kind of word cards. And then, so we continue to ask further questions. So we ask about some inadequacy. They think that the word cards, some inadequacy that can be found in the word cards. So many of them think that the word cards are actually not attractive enough and cannot arouse children's learning interests. And there is no clear explanation about the meaning of the Chinese characters, just the picture. Try to maybe explain the meaning behind the characters, but they think it's not enough. Okay, and then we then follow up by asking about some elements. We suggested some elements that those early childhood education practitioners think should be found in well-designed word recognition tools. And they all agree that maybe associative scenarios are good, and to indicate properly about the orthographic structure is a good idea, because ultimately the teachers would want children to recognize the words, to read it and to write it. So they think the structure, the recognition of the structure is very important. And also they like the pictures, the pronunciation, the stroke order is another thing that they think is important. And also some more examples of the collocations. Okay, and actually all these ideas come from my co-supervisor in my PhD studies, Professor Jie, and he is a prominent Hong Kong scholar in Chinese language education. He did a lot of research in secondary, primary Chinese language education, and then also early childhood education. And he has concepts of the Chinese character recognition, many ways to teach and to help children understand the Chinese characters. So his work greatly emphasized on systematic and developmentally appropriate methods. And some ways to more effectively teach character recognition are meaning-centered learning. So the emphasis of semantic understanding and also contextual use rather than just rote memory, like what I said, repeat the word in front of the children, make them follow you, and then they can memorize the word. It's not a good way. They think there should be meaning behind the learning. And he thinks there should be an integration of the form, the sound, and the meaning of the character. So to connect these three different dimensions in the learning is very important, according to Professor Dare. And so from his different ideas of teaching Chinese characters, I come up with this concept of associative character recognition with my team members, 聯想識字. So we want to emphasize on the meaningful associations between the visual form, 形, and also the semantic concepts, 義. So from the forms, we want children to be able to connect more to the meaning of the Chinese characters. So we want to develop some kind of meaningful pictures according to the form of the character. And we think that in this way, we can support a retention of the character recognition. Because children can have more meaningful associations, not just by rote memory. And this also aligns with the current thematic approach in local kindergartens and also the integrated curriculum approaches. Okay, and so we did like a pilot study. Okay, so we try to incorporate this concept in the one of the courses in the early childhood education program. So we asked a guest lecturer to conduct a taster workshop with our students studying the course, and then we talk about the origin of Chinese characters and the concepts of word recognition. And then we explained about this associative character recognition concept. And then the students, actually in the left here is the card made by the students by the end of this 4-hour workshop. Yes, it's designed by the students during the taster workshop. Yes, and you can see that we focus on the Chinese character of 切, cutting. Okay, and this is the picture they designed. And you can see the hand holding a knife, the knife here on the character, the radical, one of the radicals of this character. And they try to cut, I think it's some carrot, I'm not really sure. And then on the left, because there's this shape, like a 7, yes, and then they put the cut material in the shape of the 7 character, the Chinese character 7 here. So you can see the picture kind of matches the shape, and it also shows the meaning of this Chinese character. So the form and the semantics, the meaning is coming together in one page in this word card. So after the taster workshop, yeah, we asked our students to fill in a survey, and most of them think that it helps them understand the design and how to produce word recognition tools, and they can understand the concept of associative word recognition. And they would like to know more, they say. Okay, some of the qualitative feedback collected after the workshop, they think the workshop is interesting, and it's an interesting way to design word recognition tools for young children. They think it's meaningful, and it also allows them to understand about the meaning behind these Chinese characters that before they have not thought about. Yes, but some of them reflected the process is a bit difficult because they need to draw the pictures. We do not have time to talk about AI generation of the pictures during that taster workshop. Most of them, I think the difficulty is behind the drawing of this picture, how to come up with the drawing. Yes, so because they are interested, and they think that it's meaningful. So we, try to start this project. Okay, and in my proposal, this was the design in my proposal for that project. So there were a total of 8 elements in the word recognition tool. So first, on the front page is double-sided, okay, 2-sided A6 size cards. Okay, so on the front side, there should be the form of the character in a picture, okay, the associative scene. Okay, and then the next is a paragraph in Chinese to describe the associative scenario so that the children can understand about the scenario. And then the third element is the character itself and also the Cantonese pronunciation, Cantonese pinyin. And then element 4 is the one associated collocation. There is a QR code in which my students will record the pronunciation and also read out this paragraph, actually, the associative scene. And then at the back, there should be the big Chinese character because the teachers reflected that the strokes are important, right? The order of strokes are important. So we make it big character to show the structure and also the stroke orders. And more examples of the collocations, and then a step-by-step display of strokes. So this was the original proposed design. But actually, when we go through the project, we make some changes. A major change was that we took away number 8 because we cannot find many words with simple strokes like this character. This character, there are only 5 strokes in total, which can be displayed in a single row. But then many characters that my students chose finally were more complicated ones. So we found that there was not enough space for everything in one page. And so finally, we decided that we want to take away element 8. Instead, we incorporated that in 6 more. So later, I will show you the interim result, what my students have done till now. Okay, so number 8 was eventually removed. Okay, and for the project, we recruited students. So I mentioned that actually this is an interdisciplinary project. We recruited students from 3 different programs. So in total, the number of students enrolled in these 3 programs are around 550. And then we target to enroll maybe 10% of these students. And eventually, at the end, we want them to work together to develop a set of Chinese word recognition tool with 100 characters under 10 themes. So 10 themes in total, and in one theme, there should be 10 characters. So this was the original plan. And because I said already that I would like the ECE students and the Chinese students to work together to collaborate and learn from one another. So the design was to recruit half-half, like at least 60 students from our School of Education Languages, ENL students, and half from ECE and half from Chinese. And then at the end of the recruitment process is very encouraging. So we had doubled. 120 students feeling interested and sign up for this project. So roughly half from ECE and half from Chinese. So, but then the Chinese students are from 2 different programs. One is language teaching program where they can get professional qualifications to become Chinese teachers in primary schools and secondary schools. And another one is applied child language studies. So 2 Chinese programs together, this amount. Okay, and then we divided these students into 10 groups. So we asked students about their preferences, like whom do you want to form groups with? And we try hard to put the friends in one group. So one group of friends in EC in a group together with another group of friends in Chinese language, like that. We put them together in one group. So because we try to allow students to form groups with their friends, so the number in each group varies from 5 to, I think, 8 or 9, I forgot. Yeah, so it is not exactly the same number of students in each group. So there are more students in some, but less students in others. Okay, and in this project, as mentioned in the title of the project, there should be 5 stages. And now we have finished the first 2 stages, and we are currently in stage 3. Okay, and the first stage was the master classes. So there were 4 2-hour sessions of training workshops. The first one in the proposal, the first one was about Chinese writing system. And then the second one was about teaching Chinese character recognition. The third one about our concepts of the project, associative character recognition, and then about AI image generation. But then when I conduct those workshops, due to the availability of the instructors, and also we think that students should be able to use AI image generation in all the other Chinese themed workshops. So actually, we put AI image generation first, and then we do the rest of the Chinese language concepts workshop. So for each workshop, the instructors will provide background information, and then it's very hands-on. So students work in the groups, they work together to generate pictures for the to prepare them for the word recognition tool design. So we collect all the students' products for each workshop via Padlet. Okay, so this is a screen capture of the different Padlet pages for the different workshops. So the first workshop was on AI image generation. So the teacher gave some examples, of course, talked about the concepts, we introduced AI image generators and talked about concepts, how to give prompts, and then guide the children, the students through the generation. And then we asked students to form groups and do group discussions, and came up with all these different pictures generated by AI. So the students gave prompts to the AI. Later, I will give you an example. Okay, and then they generate all these pictures with those AI tools. And then the second workshop was on Chinese writing system. So the activity, the group activity, was focused on generating new ways for writing the Chinese characters. So you can see some of the meanings being reflected on the form of the Chinese characters. And then in the third workshop, it was about 识字法, many ways to teach Chinese character recognition. And then the group activity was to think about all the words under one theme, what you want to introduce to children, what you think children should learn from different themes, the Chinese words they should learn. And then finally, we explained the concepts behind associative character recognition. And the students generated, so it's like a step up from the Chinese writing system workshop till the last workshop on associative character recognition. You can see that students are able to grasp better understanding about how to put the forms of the characters together with its meaning. Okay, and let me show you some examples. So the first one is focus on the Chinese character of family, 家庭. So this was from the first workshop from the AI image generation workshop. So this is the prompt the student gave to the AI generator to make this picture. So as you can see, this is like the rooftop of the house, which is the top part of this character. And then down below the roof, there is a tune, which means pig. Yes, so this pig is in front of the house somehow, and then under the roof. So it's connected to the form of the character in some way. And beyond our request, so we just asked the students to generate images, okay? But then some students used the generator to generate short videos. Actually, it's animated, an animated form. See, this pig is jumping a bit in the house. Yeah, so it's quite amazing what AI tools can do, actually. So this is from the first workshop. And then this is another example. So this is the Chinese character, san, which means an umbrella. And then the students generated this image, which is very close, as you can see, very close to the form of the character. And they came up with the description of this associative scenario. So there is structure, and then some architectural structure, and then some people, like 4 people, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 people there. And then 4 people are under umbrellas and then sitting there. And then the architectural structure, there are some, a special form, like some pillars maybe, and then some benches for the people to sit on, things like that. So yes, this is what the student came up with by the end of that workshop. So you can see they begin to understand the concepts behind our character recognition. But you can see that is not a full understanding. So that's why we have the next stages. Okay, the next one is the stage 2. So as I said, the students were divided into 10 groups. So we have 10 groups of students, each led by an experienced tutor. So I recruited a few tutors to lead these 10 groups. So they have background in early child education, in Chinese, and in design in general. So they all have this kind of experience. And then in each group, there are EC students and also Chinese students. And in this stage 2, we want them to develop some pilot word recognition tools. So for each group, they have one theme. They need to select one theme and then develop word recognition tools, 2 word recognition tools under that theme. Okay, and so there are 8 tutorial sessions for each group, approximately once per week. So they meet one another, they update, they go home and then think about the task, and then they come back again the next week. And throughout the stage 2, the tutors will also connect with the students through WhatsApp groups, actually, social platforms. Yes, online discussion also available. Okay, and then finally, actually, I collected all these last month because it was the end of semester in November. So I collected all these from the 10 groups. So the group selected different themes. So I coordinated with all the tutors to make sure all the different groups will select different themes. So these are the themes that the groups came up with: family, food, school, daily utensils, animals, movements, body parts, plants, some something in the nature, and also some position characters. Okay, and then their goal was to develop the word recognition tools for 2 characters in each theme. But actually, each group, they came up with 10 characters that they would like to develop word recognition tools on, because I asked them to make sure they can come up with 10 characters before they confirm the theme. If they cannot, they should choose a different theme. So actually they confirmed 10 characters. But then in this stage, they just need to make 2 in each theme, so that we will go to stage 3 to ask people to review, to validate the design. Okay, and this are actually the links to the design of all these word recognition tools, but we don't have time to go through all 20, definitely. So let us look at 2 of them. Okay, so again, I picked what I mentioned: family and umbrella. It's just a coincidence. When I go through the materials, I do not have any constraints or restrictions on what words they should focus on. So they just chose the theme and then they choose the characters. But then when I prepare this presentation, I found that some of the groups use the same characters as what they have discussed during the workshops. So I found these 2 characters to show you the differences before the stage 2, the tutorials, and after. Okay, so previously the simpler design was in the workshop. Now they have a more complex design that I think can reflect the form of the Chinese character more accurately. So you can see that in the picture, there's this roof thing, of course, and then there is a family of pigs. Instead of just one pig, there is a family of pigs to better reflect the meaning of family, I think. And then the piglets, the little pigs, are arranged according to the strokes of this character. So I think it's pretty interesting the way my students prompt the AI to generate this picture, because as you can see, it matches the character's form better. Okay, so let us listen to the recording.
花子的上方，着屋檐，屋檐下，豬媽媽躺在草床上，左右兩邊各有兩隻小豬依偎在旁，延伸出此字筆畫，凝聚出一個溫馨的家。
Okay, so this is the recording submitted by the students of that group, and this can be downloaded or listened to. Maybe you cannot download it. Okay, via this QR code. So this QR code, you can scan it and then you can listen to this recording. So the front page of this word card is quite the same as what I proposed. There's the picture, there's the description of the scenario, and then there's the character, the pinyin, the collocation, and then the QR code. And then at the back, like I said, we omitted the 1 by 1 picture showing the stroke orders. Instead, we make the picture of the character showing the stroke orders bigger here. No step-by-step visualization, just a big image showing the overall stroke order. Yeah, and then we still have the 3 more examples. And then down there, there's the names of the students who in the group who designed the tools in the group. Okay, so they worked together. And then let's take a look at another example. This is the one for umbrella sun. Let's listen to the recording.
傘、爸爸媽媽、哥哥和妹妹走到路上的十字路口時，突然下雨，一家人便擠在黃色大雨傘下躲雨。
Okay, so again, there are 4 people, but then this time they are not under a roof. They are under the big umbrella. And then the architectural structure before in the workshop now becomes the crossroad here. So yes, you can see that this image is quite relevant to the form of the Chinese character san, right? And then, so this layout is a cleaner version when compared with the proposed layout because we took away the step-by-step stroke order. And then we are actually still thinking whether we can list out the names of the students and also the programs that they are studying. We will try to work around the design of the final layout for the word card. Yes. Okay, so now we have just finished stage 2. We are now working on the feedback. So we are trying to create some feedback form. We try to put everything together. The 20 draft tools to be sent out to the kindergarten teachers and also the principals to collect the feedback. We hope that the teachers will try to use these word cards in their activities with the children and then provide us with some feedback on the design and the effectiveness. We want feedback from both the teachers and also the kindergarten principals. So these 10 local kindergartens are not difficult to find because in the program, we have a lot of partner kindergartens who have relationship with us for the teaching practicums. So we will talk to the kindergarten principals to ask them to try these word recognition tools in the kindergartens. And then after that, after collecting feedback from them, we hope that in the spring semester, in the second semester, we look at the feedback from these educators, and then we modify the layout of the word recognition tools. We will communicate with the tutors, and then each group of students, they will again have at least 8 tutorial sessions and also online discussion with their tutors to design the final 10 different Chinese characters recognition tools under the theme. So there should be a total of 100 Chinese characters. Okay, and then finally, we will have an experienced editor, like a designer, to go through all the designs and then send it out for mass production. And then we hope to send all the sets of the word recognition tools to the kindergartens in Hong Kong by conducting an experience sharing sessions. Okay, so we will use all the final products in our teaching in the 3 different programs. So actually all the students in the programs can benefit from this project. And because we will send all the products to the kindergartens in Hong Kong, so they are also the direct beneficiaries. And then we hope that through this project, we can build up the branding of HKMU, of the 3 programs involved, and also for the future students and education programs at the School of Education and Languages. Okay, and after this project, we hope that all the kindergartens, when they have received our word recognition tools, they will use it in their practice with the children. And then I have talked with all the different instructors of the 3 programs involved. We've counted actually around 10 to 12 courses related to Chinese language learning. So we will make use of this set of word recognition tools and show our students about the concept. And in the future, maybe we can think about 普通话 version. Now everything is recorded in Cantonese. But then in the future, maybe we can consider a 普通话 version. But it will be a bit different because now we're using traditional Chinese characters. If we do a 普通话 version, then we need to use a simplified Chinese character version too. Then the design of the images will be different, definitely. We will think about that. Or maybe we can extend more characters, more Chinese characters under one theme, or we can come up with additional themes, or more advanced Chinese characters targeting at junior primary education, because now we are just focusing on kindergarten education, right? And because kindergarten education, children can only learn simpler words. So now it's only single character words. So in the future, we can also think about multi-character words because there are many 体语 instead of just one single character in the day-to-day use of Chinese or Cantonese. Okay, so yes, hopefully we can think about these other possibilities in the future after this project. Okay, so I think this is the end of my sharing, and I welcome your questions or the feedback or some suggestions, because now we're in stage 3, right? So I hope to collect feedback from people, like from you, all the experts, and from kindergartens too, of course. And this is my contact information. So in the future, if you have any suggestions or other ideas, we can always communicate. And thank you for your attention and interest in this project.